Yo, what's up? It's time to learn how to code in the Roblox studio. So, yeah, just give me a second. Alright, so this is the video, and that's the intro right there. Alright, now it's time to talk about the code. So the code, it does the things inside of the Roblox game, like, I don't know, move parts and like, I don't know, math. Alright, we gotta open Roblox Studio now. So we can double click on the Roblox Studio icon on the desktop. If you don't got the Roblox Studio icon, I don't know, like you have to put it on there somehow. Alright, so we're gonna click on the base plate because it's the base plate. Alright, and this is inside of Roblox Studio, so you probably know how to move around. I hope you know how to move around. It's the same as like in a Roblox game, almost. So this is a workspace where all the stuff is. Like, this is inside of the workspace, and the base plate is inside of the workspace. Also can go inside of the workspace, the code. So if you click on the plus right here next to the workspace, you click on script, not part, and now there is a code on the screen. This is a script inside of the workspace. Alright, it's time to do the variables. So the variable, it can hold things. So just like know the variable can hold like values, like numbers and like text. So you make a variable by saying local, and then whatever you want to name it. So turd, and then you can make it equal, like with the equal sign. You can make it equal whatever. So you can like the number 5 or the number 5 point or 4.175, or you can even make it equal to like some letters. So if you just type letters like this, like it's gonna give you an error because it doesn't know what the letters are. That's just because code is weird and you have to type this funny symbol around any letters. It's like the double bracket thing. You can also use the single bracket, and you can also use like double square brackets. But if you use the double square brackets, it'll let you use like enters too. Like you can do like enter, but if you do this and you press enter, it'll like give you an error because you can't do that. Alright, so we're just gonna make it equal to like a letter or a number. It's gonna make it equal 5, and then you can have like more than one variable. So I can have one, and I can have another one like tomato, and it equals like 4. And then you can change the variable. So you can do turd is equal to like 10, and then it'll, after this line of code, like after number 4, it'll equal 10. So if you use the variable turd here, like if you use it in code, it'll be 5 until it hits this, then it'll be 10. And the same thing with tomato. Tomato's gonna be 4 because we never changed it, but if we was going to change it, it would update like in the code. And if how you use the variables is you can like just type the variable name. So I can do turd is equal to tomato. Because tomato is 4, it'll just make turd 4. So like just imagine a number 4 where tomato is, and then turd will be number 5, and then when it gets to line number 4, it'll equal number 4 because tomato is 4. Alright, so this is how I do math in code. So you can literally like just type math in the code, like 4 plus 3. It'll do the code, it'll do the math like really fast. So like turd will be 5, and then tomato will be like, I don't know, 8 or 7, because 4 plus 3 is 7. And computers like almost never mess up the math. So you can do like 6 times like 9, and then it'll do whatever 6 times 9 is, and then that will be what tomato is. And you can even do like 9 divided by like 10, or like 4 times 3 minus 7 divided by 32, and then times 100. But it uses order operations, so it's gonna do like 4 times 3, and then 1 divided by 32, and then like whatever that is times 100, and then minus like and you can also use parentheses, like do the algebra or whatever crap. So you do like I don't know, 1 times 3, and then like times 10, and then, you know, math. So if we just make this 4, you can also do math like this. So you can do turd equals tomato, and then times 2. So it'll do 4 times 2, because tomato's 4, and then that's what turd will be. And you can even do this like this. You can make a new, you can local the beans, and then it equals tomato times 2, so it'll do, you know, like 8, because that's probably what 4 times 2 is. And then so you can just do math whatever you want, like wherever, and then you can put variable names in the middle of the math, and then it'll use whatever the value of the variable is. But if the variable is not a number, like if it's like a text, then it'll probably like give you an error, I'm pretty sure, like because it's not a number, but it might just say hello 2 times. I'm pretty sure it's gonna give you an error though. So I'm gonna put this back at 4. Alright, so how do we actually like see if it's working or not? That's what print is. So if you do print's a function. You can tell you can tell anything's a function because it has like a name, and then it has parentheses after it. And the parentheses, you put whatever you put the stuff in the parentheses, and that's what you want it to like say. Alright, so print, what it does is it takes whatever you put into it, like the number or text or anything, and it'll print it out. It'll put it into the output. So the output's down here. And if you don't got output, you can click on the view tab and then click on the output. It's right here, and it'll show up somewhere. So if you run the game right now, if you go to home and press run or play, you'll be in the game, right? But down here in the output, it'll print out the code. So if you put a script in the workspace, and you got it, if the code doesn't have any errors, it'll work. It'll say the whatever you press print. You can have more than one print. You can have like 1,000. But that's what print does. It prints the value to the output. But what if we got an error in our code? So like if I type in like tomato equals like the word door, that's probably gonna give me an error. Yeah, see, look, it already gave me an error. So it'll be red, and then you click on it, and it'll show you where the error is. So the error is in this line of code, because you can't like do math on like text, because this is not Python. And then it'll tell you what's wrong with it. So it attempted to do like math on a string, and a string is just text. That's what this like 2 symbols mean. It just means string, and the string is like just text. That's what string means. And you can't do math on string, so it gives me an error. Alright, so let's see what's next. Oh yeah, how the computer runs code. So it goes like from 1 down bottom. So if you see the numbers, it goes 1, and then 2, and then it'll skip 3 because there's nothing there. It'll go to 4, and then it'll go to 6. So what happens is it puts turd in memory for number 5. So turd is equal to number 5. We don't even use turd, we can just delete it. And then, so tomato equals 4, right? And then it'll do the math for beans. So beans would be 8, because that's what 2 times 4 is. And then it'll print it out. But what if you put tomato under beans, like this? Well, then it'll give you red underline, because it doesn't know what tomato is. Like it literally doesn't know, because it just goes to number 2, and then it says beans equal tomato times 2, and the computer's like, well, what does tomato mean? Because the computer doesn't know what tomato means, because tomato is like down here. So I'm going to undo that real quick. Alright, and now we're gonna put like some part in code. So you know what a part is. You probably should know what a part is. It's a part like this. It's kind of a part. If you click on a home, you can press on part, it'll make a part. So you got this part, right? You can move it to wherever you want. I'm just gonna put it right here so it's next to the spawn. And you press F on it when you're selected onto it, and then it'll zoom in on it. So this is the part, it's just like a block. Roblox games are basically made out of these things, and it's just a block, right? So you can do it anything you want with the block. So in the studio editor, if you click on like scale, you got these like circles you can move and move it around with. In the code, we're gonna get the part in the code, because you can have variables that is literally just like a part. Like the variable is a part, and you can change the variable. You can change the variable of the part, and then in the game it'll update. So I'm gonna go in the script. We're gonna rename the part. So you just right click on it or press F2 on it, and then I'm just gonna name it beans. So the part equals beans. So go in the script, right? And you do local part. You can name the variable whatever you want. Equals. And then how do you get the part? How do you get the beans into the script? You can't drag it. I guess you can. Well, that doesn't actually work. It doesn't go in the script. So you do workspace, right? You just type in workspace like this. It'll come up. If it's like blue and you want to autocomplete, you press tab and it does it for you. So this is the workspace, like everything in here, right? If we select the children, it'll show you. This is everything in blue is what's in the workspace. So you want to get beans. So you just type in dot, like it's in the workspace, and then you type beans. And then when a code runs, it'll go in the workspace and it'll look for anything named beans. So it finds the part. It was like, okay, well that's what we're talking about. So that's what's gonna save in the. That's what's in the variable now. So we got the part, and now what are we gonna edit in the part? So if you go select on a part in the workspace, this is in the Explorer. You go to the properties tab, you can see like you got the appearance, it's got like, you know, the color, you can edit the color, you know, do whatever. You can do, you know, like the reflectance, like you can edit like anything about a part, like, you know, if it's anchored, so if it can move or not, you know. So like, how do you change these in the code? It's actually really easy. So we're gonna make a little plan real quick. We're gonna change the position. We're gonna make the Y like 10, so it's in the air, and then we're gonna make it anchored so that it doesn't fall in the code. So you do part. So you just type the variable name, part, and then you do dot. So this is like the properties. So you can type any name of any property. So if you type a name, you can change the name. So change it to like tomato, and then when the code runs, if you look in the Explorer, it'll instead of beans, it'll say tomato. And you can do part dot position, and the position is a vector 3. So what a vector 3 is, it just has like the 3 variables. Like if you go to position, the origin position, you know, you got the X, Y, and Z. That's what the vector 3 is. So if you type vector 3 dot new, that's how you make a vector 3. And then you got the X, Y, Z. So we're just gonna make it minus 18 so that it doesn't change the X. The Y, we're gonna make a 10, right? So we're gonna do a comma, a plus, and then a 10. And then for the Z, we're not gonna change it. So we're gonna do comma for the Z. You can see up here it has new and X, Y, and Z. If you like, every comma goes to the next one. So you see it has X, you can type a number, and then it has the comma. So every like different parameter, you have to put a comma in between it. You can't just type 10 and then like 5. You have to put 10 comma 5. Alright, and then we're gonna change the 5 to minus 2.125. So this is gonna put the part in the same position, but it's gonna be in the air a little bit. Alright, and then we're gonna make a part, and then dot, and then we want to change anchored, right, so that it doesn't fall. So anchored, like, just if it's on, it makes it so like the part cannot move at all. So if you turn it on like anchored like this, not top surface, anchored. So that's it. And then since it's like on and off switch, you have to do equals. You don't equal to a number like this. You don't equal 1, or you don't put like on. You have to put a true or false. So true, like true or false. You can also have variables equal true or false, like local variable equals false. And then you can also do variable, the same variable you can equal true. That's how like on and off variables work. Alright, so now it turns on anchored, and when you update the part, like when you update the variable part in the code, it'll actually update in the game too. So if we press play, and then look at it actually worked. Our part is in the sky, and it is floating. It is not falling. Alright, so now we're going to make, let me see what I put in here. Alright, so we're going to create a part. We're going to make a simple like part spawner, right? So I'm going to delete this code real quick. And then I'm going to get rid of this part. And then I'm going to go in the model tab and I'm going to quickly make like a little ramp. So I'm just going to go to wedge. I'm going to rotate it or size it up a little bit. I'm just going to make it like the size of 2 of these squares. If we press F real quick. I'm going to make it the same size as this. If it's like, if your thing is not working, like if you move this and it moves like a lot, it won't let you do it. If you just go like to rotate or move, just put it to like 0.25 and then it'll be a lot easier. So I'll make it like 8 big. That's like 2 of these 4x4 tiles. And then the size, I can open it up. In the Y, I'm going to make it 8 too. And then I can just drag it around and put it back on the right position. So this is our ramp. And then we want the position. We want to create a spear, right? So we can create a ball. We can put a ball like this, right? And we can put it. We want it to be like up here in the top. We want the script to create a ball in the top, and then like every couple seconds delete the old one and then create a new one. So like, you know, that's like the thing we can do. So we want to get the position of above this. So if we just create a part like a normal part, I'm gonna look down and create one. All right, so we want to make the middle of this like this little thing where we want the part to be, where we want it to be created. So if we just do this, move it like right there, and we'll move it up a little bit. So I'm gonna move it to the back of the part so it's straight. And then I'm gonna do the move, and I'm gonna move it up like this. And we can go to size and make it 1 by 1 by 1 with the ones and commas like that. So this is the square where we want to spawn our spears at, right? I'm gonna move it this way just a tiny bit. So I want to create a spear and then let it fall, and we can watch it like, you know, move around and stuff. So it's really easy to do that. All we need to do is go into script and then do, so we had to do a loop for this so it runs forever. So I'm just going to teach you guys a normal loop, so like a while loop. Alright, so you press while and then true and then press enter, it'll put the do in the end. So inside of the do, like in between the do and the end, that's the code I'll run inside of this loop. So if you put code out here, it will not be in the loop. So like, so you put this, it will not run every like thing. It will not run forever in a loop. So while true, it does like, so every time that it runs again. So it'll check if this whatever you put here is true, and then if it is, it'll run again. But since we put like the letter, we put like the actual true here, it'll run forever because it's never gonna be false. But let me show you this, guys. Alright, so we made a variable the variable is true, right? So we do run, it'll run, but if we set like run to false inside a loop, then it will not run anymore because it's false. So we're gonna do this. We're just gonna put true because we want it to run forever. And then I'm gonna teach you guys a few functions. So first, we're gonna do local part outside of the loop. So local part equals instance not new, and we're gonna do part. And what we're gonna do in the workspace is actually, you know what? You know, we're just gonna put this. We're gonna put this inside the loop. So it makes a part, right? and we had to do part dot parent is equal to workspace, because when you make a new part you have to put it in the workspace or else you won't be able to see it. That's just how parts work. And we're gonna do part dot position equals vector3 dot new, and then we're gonna go back to the thing. We're gonna click on this, and we're gonna go to the origin position, and we're just gonna copy. We're just gonna copy this. Copy all these numbers right here. If we go in the script and then we put it inside of the parentheses, it'll work because it automatically puts the commas in for us. And now since we have the correct position inside the code, we can actually delete this. We don't need it anymore. And then since parts, this is thing. Alright, so if you accidentally move that, you can press Ctrl-Z to undo. You can also undo stuff in code if you make an error. But we want to make a part into a sphere, right? Like if you do like create a part, and you click on sphere, it'll make a sphere, right? But how do we change it so the part is a sphere inside the code? So it's really easy actually. All I have to do is go into the parts like properties and then change the shape to a ball. Because if you change it to a block, it's just gonna be a block. And if you change it to like a corner wedge, that's how parts work with like different shapes. So if we just change it to a ball, it's just gonna be a ball, pretty easy. So we do part dot shape equals ball. But wait, hold up. It's giving us an error. And that's because it doesn't take like actual ball. You have to give it an enum. So there's different enums in Roblox for everything. See, the AI already gave me an enum. So you just type enum. And then for this one, it's gonna be part type, like part type, and then enum dot part type, and then dot, and then these are the ones that you can choose from right here. So we're gonna use ball because we want it to be a ball. There's different enums for everything. Like there's part types. There's enum dot like brick color. Wait. Oh, I think it's. I don't know. There's just a lot. You can like just type letters and look at all of them. We're only gonna use one for this one, or maybe two, if we want to change the color. So we got the part of shape is a ball, right? Now we want the size to be the same size. So 4x4x4. That's really easy. All you have to do is part that size equals vector3 dot new, and then we can do 4, comma 4, comma 4, and then that'll change the size of it. And then by default, the parts anchored is already off, so we don't have to turn off the anchored. Alright, so we made the ball. So now what do? We want to wait, so you can literally type the letter wait, like the word wait, and then you can put a number for seconds. Let's put 5 seconds, so every 5 seconds it'll reset the ball. And then after this, we want to delete the ball, so we can just do part. And then if you put, instead of a dot, because we're not changing anything, we want to like call like a function on it. That's what you do with the double like semicolon. So you can do clone to like make a different one and put it into a variable. You can do like a bunch of these other ones, but right now all we're gonna do is use destroy. Like if you press tab on it, it'll do this, and it'll just like delete it. Like if you just click on it and press delete, that's the same thing. That's what destroy does. You're gonna use this a lot if we actually code in Roblox, but for right now we're just gonna use it to destroy. Just know that like if you do like a variable with a double semicolon, that means you're gonna call a function on the variable, and then I'm gonna explain what functions do later. So this is pretty much it. If we run the code, I'm pretty sure it'll just work. Alright, so if we run the code, it'll create a ball. You can see it roll away. Let's wait for it to reset after like 5 seconds. You can see it made a new ball, and it put it in the right position, and it's the right size and everything. The one thing I forgot to do is make this part anchored, so now this part can move, which we probably don't want because the ball will push it out of the way. But you can see like the ball is like spawning and doing what we wanted the code to do. Alright, now it's time to talk about functions. So what if you wanted to destroy and this wait, how it's just like a word with like some fancy symbols after it. You can create your own words with fancy symbols after it, and it's called a function. So it's like a function is like a variable, but instead of a variable is like it's just code like inside of a variable. So if we type local, when you're making a function, you have to type the word function, and then we can do the name of the function. So create, we're gonna do create ball, and you have to put parentheses. So, and then you press enter, and then it'll put the end. So anything in between like this line and the end will be inside a function. So if we want to move all this code, copy and paste it in here, and then delete it. And then how do we use the function? So we do create ball, and then what it will do is when you do this, it'll like the code will go up into the function, and then it'll do one, this line, 2, 3, 4, like it'll do the code in the function, and then after finish, it'll go back, and then it'll do the wait and then destroy, and then create ball, it'll do this, and that. So now, since we put the part inside of the function, now the part, when we destroy it outside of the function, we don't have the part variable anymore because it's inside the function. If you put a variable in the function and you call the function, you won't be able to use a variable outside of the function. So how do we tell like this to destroy the part that was in the function? You can actually make a function return a variable back, like you can make a variable equal a function. So do local part in equal create ball, but the create ball doesn't like give you a variable back yet. So inside of the function, you have to do return and then part, and then what that will do is every time you say return in the variable, it'll send the variable to like whatever the part like. So basically, this return part will send the variable into this right here because that's what it equals. That's how like return works. And also, if you do return, no more code will run in the function. It'll end the function. So if you put like code under here, it will not run. Like if you do some math down here, after return it won't run because return ends the function. Alright, so we made this like really small with the function. So let's make this anchored, and then let's run it again, and we'll see if it works or not. As you can see, it still works because it just does. And then that's how the function works basically. There's also another thing you can do to functions. You know how you have the function wait, and then you put number 5 into it? What if you wanted to put like number 5 in here and then have it do something? So you type you can have variables go into functions too. Like how the part variable comes out of the function, you can have a variable go into the function by putting it into the brackets. So when you make the function, you have to put the variable name like beans. And then we're going to, let me see what we're going to do this. We're going to do color. So color. And then we're going to do part dot color equals the color variable. Okay, so what we have to do now is make it so we put color into the function. So we do local color equals, you don't really have to create a variable for this, but I'm going to because it's easier to like explain. So we're gonna do color 3 and then dot new, or we're gonna do from RGB. If you do color 3 from RGB, you can or you can also do the other ones too. Like you do color 3 dot from like hex or HSV or RGB. It gives you like a color wheel. So you do this, you can click on the color wheel right here, the little icon, and you can pick the color. I'm just gonna pick red because I feel like it, and then it'll fill in the variables for you. So this is red, green, and blue, and then so that's the color, right? it has to be a color 3 variable, because if you just set the color of a part to like a number, it'll give you an error. It has to be color 3. Or like you can do like, what is it, brick color, but we're just using color 3. And then if you just type the color variable in here, it'll send the variable into the color variable in here. And when you set it, you can see how it all highlighted. So this equals the color you put in the variable, and the color you put in the variable equals this local variable down here called color, that equals like the red color, because that's what this color 3 equals. You don't really have to create a variable down here for this. You can like copy this. Oops, I messed up. You can copy this color 3 right here. You can Control C and then replace it in this, so you don't have to create a variable like that. That's like, it's a better way of doing it, kind of, but it doesn't really make a difference. Like if you make a variable and you don't really use it for anything, you could have just done this. It's better because it doesn't waste memory. But you know, because like computers are so fast, it's not gonna make a difference. I'm just gonna leave it like this, where it just makes a variable. And then if we play the game, it'll be red. The sphere is gonna be red because that's the color we put into the variable. Alright, and now I should have taught you guys this earlier, but we're gonna do if statements. So like, if like you can check something, like you can check like if a variable is equal to like a certain number. So alright, I got an idea. So you know when the ball like moves, like when it rolls, we're gonna make it so that if it goes past like this line right here, if it goes too far away from like where it spawns, if it goes past this, we're gonna instantly make it like come back, because you know we don't really want it to go that far. You know, it doesn't need to be rolling all the way over here. We just want it to keep going like down and back up and down. Alright, so we're gonna do how are we gonna do this? Alright, so we're gonna make a part. We're gonna, in the editor, go to model and then make a part. Make it as block, right? We're gonna place the block right here. And then what parts have is like they have events. So like if something touches it, it fires an event, and we can use the touching event to check if the part touched it. So we're just gonna put like a little barrier. You can put it wherever. You can put it further back or closer. So basically what we're gonna do, I'm gonna change the color to like, I'm gonna change the color of this, the brick color. I'm gonna change it to like green. Alright, so so the ball's gonna move, right? It's gonna go down like this, you know, rolling, and then if it touches this, it's gonna teleport back up, or it's actually gonna delete and make a new one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check when the ball hits this, and then when it does, it's gonna teleport back up. Yeah. So we're gonna actually need a new function for this. Alright, so see this function right here, it just creates it, right? We're gonna edit this function so that instead of having, you know, color, we're gonna delete the color, and we're gonna delete this. We're gonna change it for old part, and we're gonna make this whole function is gonna delete the old part and then create a new one in the one function. So we're gonna delete this, you know, part.destroy and this wait, and we're gonna delete this. Alright, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check if there is old part. So we're just gonna do if for an if statement and then old part, and we're gonna press enter. So if the old part exists, that's what you can check, if like the part is actually like in the workspace by just doing if old part. And then if there is an old part, we're gonna delete it. So just old part, you know how to do this, destroy. So you see how it's not telling me like destroy how it did before? That's because it doesn't know what this is. Like we didn't set it equal to like a part. Like how this does instant the new to part. Roblox knows that this is a part. So when you do this, it'll automatically give you the size, shape, and position and stuff. But it doesn't know what old part is. So if you just put like the two brackets or these things right here, and you can do part. And this right here, it doesn't actually affect the code. It just tells you. It just tells Roblox what this variable is supposed to be. a part. So then if we go back to old part, and it'll do destroy, because you can destroy parts, and Roblox thinks that this is going to be a part, so it just lets you do that faster. It doesn't actually make the code run faster or anything. You don't need this. It's just easier to edit code like when you do that. Alright, so we checked if there is an old part, and if there is an old part, then it destroys it. And another thing I should probably teach you guys is do the comments. So if you do 2 like minus symbols, it does a comment. And what a comment does is it just doesn't run. It's like a note for your like code. So we're just like gonna type if there is a old part, and we're gonna do comment right here, destroy it. Alright, so now what we want to do is we create a new part, we put a size and stuff, and then alright, so now how are we gonna detect if it touches the this part? So we're gonna rename this to checkpoint, or like delete. I'm just gonna name it checkpoint. We're gonna go in the code and we're gonna put this in a variable real quick. So checkpoint or local equals workspace dot checkpoint, because that's what I named it. If you name it something else, put the name of whatever you named it right here. And you can name this whatever you want. And then we're gonna do if, or so like when you detect the so if we do, alright, we're gonna need to make a function. So local function on hit, and we're just gonna put as like part. I don't really remember how this works. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another variable, local on hit. You can't name it the same. You can't name 2 variables the same thing. It'll give you an error, or it won't. It'll just like not work. So we're gonna do on hit, and it equals it. Where is it? We're not gonna make it equal anything right now. And then when we make a part, we're gonna do. This is called like an event. So part dot. You can see how like touched. See how it has like a lightning symbol? That means that it's an event. So dot touched, and then you do the connect, and then on hit, and you have to make this equal to on hit, the variable, not the function. Alright, so what this does is it connects the on hit function to when it is touched. So when the part is touched, every time that the part gets touched, it'll connect it to on hit. Like it'll run this function every time it gets touched. Like if your character touches it, it'll connect it. If it when it touches the ground, it'll fire the function. So in the function, we want to check if it hit this part right here, and if it did, we want to run a function that puts it back up here. So we're going to put this variable. You don't need to have a variable when you connect a function like this. It's just that we want to disconnect it and then reconnect it, like whenever we want to have a new part. Alright, so we want to check like if hit connect is connected to anything, and then if it is, we want to hit connect, like disconnect it. So when we run this function, we want to turn off the connection from the old part that we're going to destroy, and then we want to reconnect it to the new part we put up here. We're gonna probably learn about connections later in like a different video or something, but right now that's like what it does. Alright, so on hit the part, I'm pretty sure like it just puts the part that we hit in here. So we're gonna do if part dot I don't know. Alright, let's look at this this code that AI just gave me, that it gave me when I was trying to figure out what to do. So if the part name equals ball, So wait, what? Alright, so we're just gonna go to touched. Click on this. We're going to right click on it and go to alright, so if you right click on it, like a Roblox function, and right click on it and press go to declaration, or if you like press help or something, it'll take you to the Roblox website where it'll tell you about the function. So I'm gonna read this real quick so that we know what to do. Yeah, so the touch event, it fires when a part touches another part. So like if part A, you know, the like what we did, I already explained this. You guys can read this whenever you want. It's just in the Roblox, creator.roblox.com, the creator hub. Alright. Alright, so let's look at this code sample. We got on touch, and then it does the okay, so it does the other part in the function. So the other part is like, you know, the other part. So we're just going to see if the we're gonna check if the other part is equal to the checkpoint part. So when it hits something, we're gonna, if the ball, the ball hits the part, we're just gonna make sure that it's not this part. And if it is this part, then we're gonna do the reset function. So I'm gonna rename this to other part so it's more easier to read. And we're gonna move part up here, so local part, and we're not gonna make it equal to anything, and we're gonna remove the local here so that we can use it in this function. Wait, I don't even need this. I lied. Undo that. Don't do that. Alright, so what we're just, all we're gonna do is check if other part, if it equals, when you do equals in the if statement, you have to put 2 equals, because that's how code works. If you put 1, it means like you're making it, like you're changing the variable. So like, you know, 1, like if you do beans equals like 4, then, you know, you'll change the variable to 4. But if you do equals equals, it'll check if they like equal each other. So we'll do a checkpoint, because that's a variable that we put our part in. And then if it is, then we're gonna do create ball. I think we need to do this. We need to move this function above this function, and you don't, make sure you don't have 2 of the same function. Yeah, like that, create ball. But now I'm back. Why'd you guys jump off the table, bruh? Alright, so we have like a problem here. We can delete this down here, we don't do it. But you see how like we had to move the create ball function above the on hit function so that we can use it, because if we don't, well then it won't know what it is. But if we do that, then it doesn't know what on hit function means. So we're just gonna undo that, put the create ball under it, so I'm pretty sure we can still use the create ball function in here, just like that. I don't know. I never had this error before. This is kind of weird. I'm gonna think for a second. Huh. Maybe if we move to local here, it'll work. Okay, it actually did work. So you can make a function without local, and then it'll like just be a function that works in the entire script. Like, so what normally happens is if you create like a part like a variable beans equal 5 or 1, and you don't put local, so it's not local variable, you can use it outside of the function. But if you put local, like local part, it'll delete the part variable outside of the function. I'm not really sure why it works when I put the when I remove local in front of the function right here, but it does. So I guess whatever. Alright, so now we made our code, right? We want to kick off our function so that it actually starts with a ball. So down here we're just gonna do create ball. So it'll create the first ball, and then it'll do the loop where it touches the checkpoint, it deletes the old one, makes a new one every time it touches the checkpoint. So we're just gonna hit play, and hopefully it'll work. Oh, okay. What happened was I didn't give it the old part in the function. I messed up. So you know how we create ball and we want to delete the old part? Well, I didn't put the old part in here, so we're gonna put the part, and what we're gonna do is remove the local right here, and then do local part down here. So that means like part is like a variable throughout the entire code, and we're just changing it. We're not making a new variable every time we make a new part. It's just gonna be the same variable. Yeah, so it does this. It rolls, and then it hits the thing, and it deletes, and then it makes a new one. That was a pretty terrible tutorial. You guys should like comment or something on it, and like tell me what you want to learn next. You should also tell me if you actually learned anything. Yeah. I'm gonna make this anchored. And then I'm just gonna watch it run in a few minutes. Yeah, so this is the code we made. It uses like, functions and the connect. We connected a function, and we disconnected a function. Alright, so that's the the whole tutorial. That's how you like code in Roblox. So I hope you guys make some awesome games or something. And then tell me what you want to learn next. The next video should be about. I'm gonna like end the recording now. Okay, bye, I guess.